Okay, awesome. All right. So good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our behavioral health presentation. Today, we're going to be talking about self-care and COVID-19. And this is presented by the Mabuhay Health Center Behavioral Health Chairs. My name is Julie Calliston, and then here's my partner.
My name is Gabriel Samarin Garcia, and I
Awesome.
hope
And
you
so,
all like our presentation.
yeah. So we're just going to do a quick check-in question this morning. We just wanted to ask, how are y'all feeling in the midst of this pandemic? Or in other words, how has COVID been affecting you and your family? So you can go ahead and say, comment some words in the chat, and then Julianne will go ahead and relay that back to us. So you can say things like, oh, I feel sad, or I miss my family, or I feel happy that I get to spend time with my family now that we're stuck at home together. Or you can say, feelings of worriedness, whatever you decide to say, everything that you say is valid and it's totally understandable. So we'll just take a minute on that. Personally, I'm feeling a little stressed. I'm still a college student, so everything is virtual and everything's online. So it's a little hard for me to learn or like stay super engaged in classes. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about you, Gabriel. How are you feeling?
I've been feeling a little bit down just because of how COVID really limits you from seeing people that you love,
Mm-hmm.
and this just the way we're learning now through Zoom is different, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have fully adjusted to like studying through Zoom, especially like we're in college and like these are very much like formative like a material that we want to learn to like formulate like what we want to do, and so yeah.
Agreed.
We have some comments from our Facebook Live. Community members Marlon says, happy to spend time with the family, but more stressed. Sam says, stressed and worried about my family's health. Janelle says, feeling more stressed than usual. Leanne says, feeling happy and to get to, oh, sorry, I read that already. Oh wait, happy to get to spend time with family, but tired of spending it indoors all the time.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, for sure. And those are all super valid. Like, there's always a plus side. Like, you're happy to spend more time with family, but at the same time, it's like really hard to be stuck indoors. So now we're going to talk about, so since we're in shelter in place right now, we're going to talk about how the shelter in place and self-isolation has affected us as a community and us personally. So go ahead and go to the next slide, please. So now we're going to talk about the different types of isolations. So first we're going to talk about general isolation. So whether you're with your family or you're alone, isolation from the outside world or just, society can be, and being stuck at home can cause restlessness, and it can cause worry and anxiety and all these weird feelings. And that's totally okay. That's understandable, as we've been in this shelter in place and self-isolation for a very long time. The second type of isolation is geographical isolation. Geographical isolation is when, whether you live by yourself or whether you live with your family, you may live in a place that's hard to access, whether it's through public transportation or whether it's through personal transportation. Maybe you live in the city and it's really hard to go and see your family or use public transportation to go see your family, whether it's in another part of the city or whether it's outside in another city. And at the same time, it goes both ways. Maybe your loved ones lived in the city, but you're at home, like, in another city, and you just can't find the means to go to them. This also happens when you're at home and maybe you don't have direct access to, food resources such as a grocery store. So that also goes both ways as well. This is similar to the isolation of inaccessibility to travel. So whether you're unable to use public transportation, or you're worried about using public transportation, or you don't have your own personal means of public transportation, not having that opportunity to go see your family and friends, go to community events, or even just to go shopping, exercising, or going out to eat, that's a way that limits our communication with the outside world, with society, and that's in its sense a different type of isolation. And the last form of isolation is social isolation. We usually wouldn't see this considering how much technology we have in our hands and how we live in the Bay Area. But social isolation happens when technology can be hard to use or it's inaccessible. So you may not have stable Wi-Fi, you may not have a phone that works really well or a laptop that has a high performance. And because of this, it can be harder to reach family members, connect online, message your friends, and that in itself is a different form of isolation. So we'll go ahead and head to the next slide. Well, where we'll be talking about how self-isolation affects us personally and emotionally and mentally. So here are a couple of keywords that I've noted, such as loneliness, sadness, worry, restlessness, hopelessness, and anxiety. These are all a little bit more on the negative aspect, but I think we can all agree that some of us that we felt these at one point during our shelter in place and during this pandemic. If you agree with me or if you feel these things, please say so in the comments down below, to know that we're not alone and that, you know, whatever we feel is valid. So I'll just go ahead and note some key words right here and how they connect with each other. So restlessness, like we said earlier, being stuck at home and not being able to release energy can cause feelings of restlessness and frustration. This leads to a sense of anxiety. So whether it's like no contact with family or, you know, the worriness of like what this pandemic will bring, whether, you know, is it safe to go outside or is it not safe to go outside? It leads to these questions of like, when will I see my family and friends again? When will I be able to go to the grocery store? Like, when will I be able to go back to work? And all of these feelings kind of tie in together to ask the questions of when will this pandemic end, or how will I be able to make this new normal work? And feeling all of these feelings is totally valid and it's okay, and we've all felt them at one point. So now that we've acknowledged these vulnerabilities and we've acknowledged these feelings, we're going to talk about ways to combat them. So I'm going to pass the mic over to my partner.
Hello. Before we start into my topic, again, my name is Gabriel Samang Garcia, and I'll be talking about self-care. But before we go into that, I wanted to do another check-in and give you all some time to just simmer with these thoughts and self-reflect for a moment. So how are you handling self-isolation and how do you define self-care? So if you can just add a few words in the chat or just like simply just self-reflect at this moment. I'm giving you all the space to do so. And just to answer this question while you guys are thinking about these questions, how am I handling self-isolation? Honestly, I think the way I handle self-isolation is just listening to a lot of music. I love to sing, so I usually sing a lot as well. I have plenty of plants in my apartment, counting like 60, funny, but like I just like to look at them and like water them. And for self-care for me, I cook a lot. I go on a lot of walks and I sing more, specifically in the bathroom. The bathroom is the best place to sing, the best place to release. I don't know if you all have like a space like that, but I love the bathroom. If you ask my housemates, I put a candle on and I put some speakers and I just listen to like old music. Like yesterday I was listening to like Aretha Franklin and it was really nice. But yeah, love showering. I'll give you all a little bit more time to respond.
Jewel says daily meditation.
Yes. I used to do that with my roommate, but I want to get back to it. We would do it like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'll just wake up. But yeah, with those questions, now I want to go into the topic. So self-care. Just before I talk about self-care, I just want to reaffirm that we all have different ways to self-care. So we also have different definitions of what self-care is to us. And so for me, self-care is the practice of taking an active role in protecting your own well-being and happiness, especially during times of distress. And so during this time, the pandemic, for example, like the pandemic has caused a lot of us to self-isolate, and being able to see someone physically and interact with them has become like a luxury and a privilege. And so the ways that we can maybe eradicate these feelings of like you're missing someone or something, is through self-care. And so I want to introduce the 4 M's, which I will be going furthermore. But basically the 4 M's is just a way for you to cope when confronting profound challenges such as the current pandemic. And just again, this presentation is to help you develop your own personalized self-care toolkit. And so now I'll be introducing the 4 M's. So what are the 4 M's? The 4 M's are mindfulness, meaningful connection, movement, and mastery. Mindfulness is basically the awareness that emerges through paying attention, working to stay focused and in the present moment, and reacting non-judgmentally to things as they are. And so this is basically just really self-reflecting, grounding yourself with your emotions, and allowing yourself to sit with these emotions and just self-reflect and how you feel, and like I'll go for more details on how you practice these stuff. And so now a meaningful connection includes being emotionally invulnerable and open with someone, showing affection to them and receiving it in return, and knowing that you can count on one another. Movement, any type of movement and stretching that you can do in the comfort of your home, around your garden or yard, as permitted by a doctor, or even just around your neighborhood, is helpful for your physical health. And then lastly, mastery. Don't forget your brain health. Taking care of your brain health is as important as taking care of your body. And so now the question is, how do we practice the 4 M's? So I want to go on first with mindfulness. Stop for a moment and take note of how each breath you take feels as it travels in and out of your body. And so just doing daily meditation, that's what Jewel said earlier. I really like to do this, but I like to focus on the meals that I eat and just really focusing on the little things that I do. And so like maybe when I'm playing piano, like I really focusing on that. And just really synthesize like, why am I doing this? Why does it make me happy? And if people are writers here, start a journal, or you can draw and write about it, anything you feel. Self-reflection can be grounding, and being able to sit with your emotions and thinking upon it is good and restorative and healing. With meaningful connection, if you have the capacity to do so, reach out to your close ones, relatives, friends, community via digital means, or even have them see you once in a while under public health guidelines. And so this can manifest as simply them driving up close to your neighborhood and just like sitting in the car and talking to you, or even just doing protocol of like getting tested beforehand before meeting each other. Just checking with people that are important to you will not only give you the space to talk about how you feel, you're able to maintain and strengthen your relationship with them. And then now we're gonna go into movement. And so I kind of did like a cool safe walk with the right forma or gear when you're going out. And so this is basically like my ideal, but like this can be for anyone. As said by the past public health committee, a cloth mask is really good because it's customizable. You can rewash it and you can like make it a fit, you know, like look at all these things. And then, or if the air is bad, N95 with the cloth mask. And so like make it fashionable, make it your own, you know? And then a bag full of goodies, of course. And so what does a bag full of goodies entail? And also you can wear any type of bag you want. You can even wear like a grocery bag. But with the safe walk, you bring extra masks in case something happens, hand sanitizers, extra gloves, and then bring a jacket just in case it gets cold. Because I know you all live in San Francisco, or most of you. And then obviously stylish gloves. Stylish gloves, it's in there right now. So everyone get them. And it can be from plastic to just like reusable gloves. And so what are the benefits of having this right forma or gear? So improve balance, coordination, and flexibility. When you do a lot of walking, it reduces exacerbation of chronic health conditions, increases oxygen to the brain to promote better cognitive functioning. And fun fact, it decreases risk of osteoporosis. So just moving around every day is so good for you. So take advantage of that. Like just walk around safely. And so hopefully this can be like a guide for you to just like be outside, like fashionable. Ooh, I'm walking outside, having my beautiful day. But yeah. And so this is basically like how you would look when you go outside. I got my fashionable mask, I got my gloves, and I got my bag full of goodies. And so now mastery. So take care of your brain. Sleep when you need to. Resting and knowing when you are fatigued is good for you. Engage in activities that will exercise your brain. So this can be like games, puzzles, reading, journaling, drawing, tending the garden, plants. TV is good, but a limited amount. And just again, brain stimulation can help boost your attention, verbal fluency, and other cognitive areas. So now I'll go into conclusion. So just a couple tips: stick to or create new healthy habits. So things such as exercise, good nutrition, and quality sleep are all helpful things for both your mental and physical health. Creating the self-care toolkit can also mean adhering to it. So consistency allows you to stay in control of your health. Do not ignore your thoughts and feelings. So like, for example, it might be helpful to approach your feelings as if you are a curious scientist. For example, notice like you're having thoughts about COVID-19, interesting, but also very scary. So after noticing that, do some exercising and exercises that basically heal you or restore you, that allow you to move out of your head and back into your body, like deep breathing, shrugging your shoulders, pushing your feet into the ground, doing something that basically allows you to sing those emotions, but then also step out of it for a moment and just engage with your own body. Reach out to your support networks in any way you can if you have the capacity to strengthen your relationships. This will strengthen your relationships with loved ones and important groups using technology or simply as calling. Do your best to contain the anxiety that COVID-19 brings. So this can be done by limiting your news intake, setting up a check-in time with your family, sharing journal entries, anything that basically helps you isolate yourself from all that jazz of drama and stuff. And then lastly, be gentle with yourself and self-care. Try to be mindful of how you're feeling and acting on a given day, and forgive yourself for the times when you might not be at your best. Recognize that this is a form of self-care, and forgiving yourself and just taking the time to reflect is restorative and healing and can ground you. And yeah, now we're gonna go to Q&A. Thank you all for listening.
Yes, thank you to everyone who listened to our presentation, and we hope that you were able to learn a lot from it and that you were able to, you know, grab some pieces of information and take away and be able to apply them into your everyday behaviors. But if you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask us. We're more than happy to help.
And again, thank you all for coming out and listening to this presentations. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot that you all are taking, again, like this is a form of self-care because you're listening to our presentations and just engaging with the community. So yeah, don't be shy.
No questions, but you had a lot of people commenting on this PPE and stylish fit.
I see some comments. So from Elizabeth, she says, yes to making PPE a stylish fit. Yes, obviously we need to dress up for our safe walk, you know. Also dressing up is a form of self-care, it feels good. And then Samantha, my roommate, oh wait, I'm not gonna read that one.
Tiffany said, haha, love it. Ray Ann said so good. And AC said, great job, y'all. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's showing us love. We really appreciate it.
Well, if there are no more questions and answers, I think we're done, but you can just keep continuing the questions and comments.
Okay, well, that concludes our first time around with our virtual health education webinar. We want to thank you all for joining us and for just engaging. It was really fun today to have all you part of our first pilot run. So please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram at Mabuhay Health Center. We will be posting health education materials on both platforms, and we plan on doing this monthly. So we love to meet with you all in the future months. If you are interested in telehealth services, please call us at 415-636-7043. Thank you everyone for joining us again today, and have a great Saturday.